What's going on, everybody? This is Nick here at Y480. We are playing NHL 17 BAGM mode, also known as franchise mode. Last episode, we announced we are the new GM for the Colorado Avalanche. They called us up. They needed our help to get out of the gutter. There's been a lot of weird happenings in the city, and I asked you guys, what are we going to do? What's the next step? And also, did my pseudo roster update work out? Got a ton of comments. Here they are. Boom, 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 boom. All you, thank you so much for your comments. You helped immensely. I'm just one person, so having a whole crew like you guys tell me what's going on is the best thing. Now, if you do want your comment hosted in the next video, let me know down below what we should do after this. Now, we're going to probably simulate maybe a month or two in this vid. We're going to make some trades. And if you let me know down below anything really about the GM mode, about the state of the Avalanche franchise, anything like that, I'll read it. If it helps me out, I'll pop it into the video. I'll be totally happy to do that. No skin off my back. It is great to host you guys and show the true minds behind the Y4Turbo GM mode. They always say there's a leader, there's a GM, there's a president, but they've got a ton of advisors that help them be successful, and that's what you guys are. So if you want to be in the next video, let me know down below. Help me out. Let me know some players we can possibly draft, anything really. But back to the GM mode. So like I said, we are going to be making a trade in this first episode of actual GM here. I wanted to get right to it. Having the second episode be a transformation episode is always my favorite kind of thing. You've seen it in past GMs. If you haven't, link in the description below. Check out my other GM modes. It's a kind of a tradition, just revamping the whole franchise. So let's get right into it. The main consensus in the comments: get rid of one player. And it wasn't who I expected initially. It was this guy right here, Matt Duchene. 88 overall, elite player, 25 years old. Typically a great player to have on a franchise, but we are doing this kind of weird pseudo rebuild. The consensus was kind of to do a full rebuild while keeping a couple players. So I agree with that. I agree with trying to get a top 10 pick as well, though. So we can't rebuild with somebody as good as Duchene right away. Maybe we're going to keep McKinnon. You got to keep McKinnon. Probably Landeskog because of his leadership. And then from there, we can kind of move out. Tyson Barrie's a good one to keep as well. Johnson, maybe at the trade deadline, we could ship out. But the main consensus, what I was going to say was, I thought Varlamov would have been the main consensus to ship out because of his contract. Almost $6 million a year for the next 3 years for somebody as good as him, which his base stats are okay, but 86 overall, it's okay. But what I'm going to do is see what we can get for Duchene. I've not pre-simulated this trade, but I've already scouted out a trade suggested by you guys. So one of the things you all suggested down in the comments was trading for Lemieux here. So I was talking about Claude Lemieux, and you said this is his kid, Brendan Lemieux, left wing power forward, already 73 overall, so he's an AHL guy at this point. Medium top 9, that's fine. But this isn't going to be the key component. This is just going to get the player for player so that they can have it's basically a roster spot for them. So I just thought that would be perfect. Let's see what else they have. Turns out they've got a couple draft picks we could probably use. So that's I don't know why I went this way. I'm just building this trade because I've already kind of sounded it out in my head. The first round pick, so that's not too much here. And then if we do next year's first round, now that's a little bit in our favor. But they want to give away all of these. They want to give away their first round for the next 2 years, especially if they get someone like Duchene. They'll probably be contender. Yeah, they're already contender status. They do want to give up Hutchinson, which might be a cool trade we could make for Varlamov and just kind of tank it the first years with Bernier and Hutchinson. Now, the thing is, we're in a hopeful status right now. This is going to probably take us more to a pseudo rebuild status. Collecting the first round picks for this year and next year is a really, really cool idea. And then getting a top 9 power forward guy that can be just a nice asset for the future. If you guys can check out his stats right here as I pull them up. Good base stats, 20 years old, so he fits right in with that rebuild age. He's a little under overall that we want to do, but I can see him low 80s. If he gets up to 82 or 83, this could be a great fourth liner of the future. Maybe even a third liner when injuries happen or something of that nature. And, obviously, Claude Lemieux being like I said, I want to reignite that rivalry era in the late 90s with the Wings and the Avs, early 2000s, late 90s. And bringing in a Lemieux is a really, really cool little throwback to that. So thank you for that suggestion. This is really cool. Let's see if we can do this. I don't think this will go through because it's a little heavy on their side for value. But I mean, come on. I don't want to hold any of his actual contract salary on our side. So whatever. I want to get somebody back. And actually, it looks like they only have 44 contracts. So I don't really need Lemieux in this trade. But just for the sake of it, you guys want it to trade for him. I think this is a good trade for him to fit into, forward for forward with some picks. So let's see if this goes through. If not, maybe we'll throw in like a fourth rounder or something like that. I don't know, maybe. All right, let's see. Rejected. Okay. So that's good, though, to see that we're not just, if it went through right away, it might have been one of those times where it was like, well, maybe that wasn't good. Let's see if we can throw this third for next year, and the fourth looked like a little not enough. So let's see. Will this one go through? Okay. We might have to do a second. I don't want to do it for this year. I want to do it for next year. This year's our big draft year. So second for next year with Duchesne for 2 first rounds and Lemieux, bulking up on those first round picks. Okay, that goes through. Just barely, it looks like. And yeah, multiple morale changes. I expected that, but that's why we do it before the season. I could just do best roster, but I kind of want it's not it's edit lines. I don't want to do best lines because they'll put the A on somebody I don't want to, then I'll take it away and it'll just be really bad news. So we're right here at the beginning. Let me just throw Jost in there, or Yost, however you guys say it. All lines. That'll be fine. He's not going to be in the first line, don't worry. But maybe we'll put him on one of these lower lines. That'd be kind of cool. So I know there's a couple other players we could possibly trade. I think I'm going to wait till the next episode to do those trades. I would definitely like your guys' input because the last episode was more along the lines of roster questions and things like that. You guys really helped out with that. So who should we trade next? Let me actually go back to proposed trade just so we can get a really detailed look at the roster overall. So you guys were talking about Rattanen's potential, and I put that up to medium elite, so thanks for that. He's still 82 overall, but he should actually grow. Some of you guys were saying he's like just stagnates. That's no fun. So let's get him up to at least medium, so he actually is a medium elite. Him and McKinnon, definitely, possibly future line mates, only a few years apart. So yeah, that's pretty good. And there's a ton of changes down in the minors. So those first year players that got drafted in the top 10 and stuff, they will most likely be able to play on their lottery teams, which will be great because a lot of the times it's like 3 years down the line. Then you see like, oh, there's that guy, there's Cal Foot or whoever. So, all right. So Lemieux is on the roster, but this is what I was going to ask you guys. Now, goalies, this is definitely something we eventually need to look at. Semyon Varlamov definitely can't stick around on this team for his salary. Not a bad goaltender by any means, but 86 overall for $6 million. It's just like we got to be able to sign free agents in like year 2 or 3 maybe to help out our guys. Now, we do have some cap available currently, and you guys were saying it's more important than ever in NHL 17 to get some of those veterans on lines with younger guys because of their poise, because of their leadership, things of that nature. That's why I wanted to keep some of the players I kept, like Landeskog and who else? Like Johnson, maybe until the trade deadline, just so we can kind of help out these people who are growing. You never know what can kind of happen here. But let's see. Let's jump into simulation. I'm going to actually take a look at the rosters real quick. Let's just look at it together, and then we'll make a decision on the fly here. I think my biggest thing is maybe signing a free agent or two right away to help out these young guns on the lines here, because I think the biggest thing is who's scratch players right now. Okay, I think we're okay. Lemieux can go down to the AHL. This guy can go down to the AHL, and we'll keep this guy up here just as a scratch player, and maybe we'll bring up a seventh defenseman. So let me change these around a little bit in the AHL and NHL. We'll come back, we'll take a look at it, and we'll potentially sign a free agent, maybe. I'm actually looking at we'll see. See you in a second. All right, we are back here in the NHL roster and on the edit line screen. Now, you guys are telling me Grigorenko actually went over to the KHL. I've swapped him out and thrown him into the European leagues, thrown him to other teams, started this GM multiple times over. He won't get off the team. I don't understand. Everybody else is off the roster I took off. Maybe if I dropped in free agency, but then that would give everybody else a chance to snag him. So that sucks. He's not actually even on the active roster Colorado Avalanche outside of GM mode. So I don't get it. I've started the GM multiple times over, put him on different teams, other things like that, different leagues. He won't leave. I don't get it. I don't know if that's some kind of a glitch, but we're going to run with it. He has 1 year left. Maybe we just won't re-sign him. We'll just use him for this year. Now, I said I was going to potentially sign a free agent just to help out. I think we've got a good balance of old guys to young guys currently on the active roster. I might add some under depth kind of, and we can do that right now. I wanted to get maybe another goalie prospect and maybe another center prospect since we don't really have too much in the way of that going on. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. But we'll just run with it this year. I mean, it's not really a huge deal. Here's what D looks like. I decided to put Johnson on the second line here because I want Barry to work out with a veteran as well. But when we inevitably trade Johnson, I don't want to have to worry about that. So Tootin is up here just for this 1 year. It's all good. It'll still help him a little bit with being. It kind of does suck that he's a defensive defenseman. I could put one of these young guys up there, but apparently that inhibits growth. So, like you guys are saying, I'll just keep him with the vet, and we'll worry about that later. And then obviously in net, we've got Varlamov still in Bernier. Eventually we will be getting rid of him. Maybe not this year at the trade deadline. I was maybe thinking using him as a trading asset at the draft to move up, possibly. I think that's actually a better idea. This year will be, maybe we'll get a lottery pick. I can see this team winning some games just because of the, they're going to get some goals, things like that. They're not a good team. We're definitely worse than we were. But, and I want to get Jost a chance here, just playing a little bit. I think he's on one other line, but other than that. But just getting him a little taste of the action. We put Nieto down just so he doesn't have a terrible, final year of growth or whatever. And he can either be a trading asset if we re-sign him, or we can just drop into free agency. It's kind of one of those things. Luckily, a lot of players on this team that are just kind of low overall vets have 1 year left. Whereas I think Como, we got to move him. Yeah, 2 years at $2 million for what he's kind of doing. We don't really need him. We could move him at the deadline, or just keep him as a depth guy to just fill in a roster slot. That's not a ton of money to ask. That's more than I would pay him, but and then, down the middle, I think the first two lines will be decently successful. Second line is more of a third line, but at least they've got some good two-way and power guys on there. And I think the first line will still get some points. It's definitely not the best first line in the league by any means, but it's a lot better than if we traded away Landeskog as well and had to put like Wilson up there, or if we traded away Wilson and had to play Rantanen up there. That might be, give everybody a bad time. Let's look at AHL real quick. See, I got Nieto down here. He's playing right wing, but he's got actually 2 or 3 years left here, so he's a depth guy. So I just put him down here. He can come up for injuries if our other guy falls down. Lemieux's down here playing on the second line. So we got a couple guys up here. It should be all good. Here's our D. This is kind of what we got to work on for the future. Really, only one guy right here, Siemens, has any real potential, but he's not growing too quick. But hopefully this year will be good for him. I did put this goalie in, Lewin. He's backup potential. That's really the only goalie prospect we have. Everybody else is AHL starter potential. And everybody that has any kind of potential is up here. So we do not have a prospect pool. It is completely empty. So that's why I think bulking up on picks is a good idea, and just kind of riding this year out, getting maybe a lottery pick, hopefully at least top 10, and going from there. And then using someone like, I want to keep Landeskog because of his age, but may have to trade him. But other people can kind of be traded. Wilson might actually be a decent asset. How much are we paying him? A little too much, but I mean, actually not really. For a power forward, I think he can be good, but 3 years, whatever. And Varlamov can be traded. So let's get a couple free agents real quick here, so you guys can have a little bit to look at, and then we'll do a tiny bit of maybe like a month at this point. I don't know if I want to do any more. But let's just sign some. We do have some cap space, but I think the best thing to do, we could sign Yager. I think the best thing to do would be to sign a couple potential guys that are a little younger. Griffin Reinhardt, he was dropped he was picked up by Vegas, but dropped by, who's he on, the Islanders? So yeah, we could, that would actually be a pretty cool pickup. Even in real life, I feel like maybe he's more, not really a bust, but he's definitely not exceeding any expectations that were given to him. I know he doesn't grow too crazy, but I mean, for that salary hit, we could definitely get him out here. I think we traded away enough guys. I think we only have like a couple roster spots. Let me actually see first, because that would be embarrassing. We're actually 50 out of 50. So unfortunately, I don't think we can get anyone else. So that sucks. So we got to lose a couple guys this year. Maybe we'll just do it by the end of maybe we'll just do a trade after this first month. That sucks because it doesn't really allow me, and I could cheat and just trade away a bunch of guys we don't want for like 7th round picks, but let's not do that. Let's really suffer like the actual Colorado Avalanche are suffering. Let's go to QMJHL, get that Hershier stuff here. I'll just do 6 weeks because who knows, and we'll can we pin him right away? Yeah, let's just pin him right away. Are we do they have any potential just yet? Okay, he's got bottom 6 currently, so I'll just pin him there just to keep an eye on him so we get, I don't really know. I mean, we already know he's going to be good. It's not really I don't think it's really anything. You know who I should have put in to the roster? Dadonov. He got picked up by the Panthers. Damn it. Why didn't I do that? Next GM will do that. I've already restarted this GM like 5 times. It's getting kind of ridiculous. Okay, so that's going there. We know we don't have any roster spots, and I could cheat, but screw it. We'll just keep moving with what we're doing, and we'll really suffer, like actually suffer, which kind of sucks, but I think this team can honestly, in maybe 3 years, be a playoff, maybe not a contender, but we'll make the first round for sure, maybe get to the second round. It's one of those things. By the way, injuries are off. That was the consensus in the comments. We'll turn him on for the playoffs. That will be fun. We'll do it the Johnny Superman way, which I think he's actually turned them on all season in his most recent GM. But that's just because they're so weird. You can set the slider to like 7, and it happens like once a year. So I don't really understand what the whole deal is with that. Okay, we got everybody in the minors. We're good on that. We had a horrible preseason, so hopefully that'll lead into a horrible regular season, and we get to keep some of our assets, which would be nice. Like I said, I think Landy is actually like a good leader. Let's just go a week at a time, just so we can kind of keep track of it here. I think keeping him as a leader is probably the best thing to do for morale. We get a win right away. Are you kidding me? Okay, here's some losses. All right, that's kind of the thing that happens in some of these GMs. You try to tank it completely, and your team just starts winning games. So we're 2-2, which is actually respectable for this lineup. You could argue if I had gotten rid of Varlamov and maybe some of the depth kind of veteran guys, we would be really bad off. But that's kind of the problem with this game mode, is if you don't have those leaders on the team, if we trade at Landeskog, if we trade it like, who knows, even like a Blake Como. Wow, that's a big win we just had. All of a sudden our guys stop growing. So it's pretty dumb, but whatever. We'll figure it out. Let's just do defensemen. I don't really have any idea of any goalie prospects, and I think honestly, we might just find a goalie in free agency. I think that would be the easiest way to go. Have one guy maybe waiting in the wings, but find someone in the next 2 years that we have the cap room for that can come over and be that final piece. We've got the cornerstone defenseman. We've got the cornerstone forwards. We just need a final piece. This could be even someone, in their early 30s that we could just in the 2 years after we sign them win a cup or something like that. And it'll be good that way. I think mostly what this team needs to be doing here. Okay, we've done I think about a month here. Yeah, let's actually go to let's just go to the first. Let's go to the CBJ game, and we'll be good. We'll just get it into December here and see where we're at. That'll be a good sample size for what's going on with the stat. We'll look at the stats after this video, or the simulation ends. But yeah, we're winning games now. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're going like 500. This is what I'm saying. Maybe my idea of just going through normally is a bad idea. Maybe we should get rid of some of these depth players, like Soderberg and like Wilson. They've got some trade value, so we could get at least, maybe second round pick or like I was thinking more along the lines of like a prospect. But if we do get some picks, we could potentially trade for multiple players at the deadline in terms of prospects or something like that. But I was just thinking loading up on picks because we kind of know what to expect out of this year. So actually we're 10-10-1, so we're just there at 500. So that's not bad. That'll get us, let's look at the standings here. That'll get us, probably a lottery pick at this point. Yeah, we're last in our division. So that's not bad at all. For not really getting rid of much, getting rid of one player, and tanking this bad, that's pretty good. So let's actually look at team stats here, and we're last in our division. But let's just let's look at the entire league because I like that idea. Let's see how far down you got to go to see us. So we're not man. Look at the Wings. Look at the Leafs. Why are the Leafs so low? 14 points. Damn, dude. 5 wins, 14 losses. Huh. Well, I guess this first year maybe isn't too good for them, or maybe they're just tanking it. So 26th in the league. So we would have a top 5 pick if it was just based on position. That wouldn't be too bad. We could get a nice player in the top 5. If we stay at this point, I feel like the Leafs are going to start leapfrogging back up. Especially if they make some. And I think the Sabres will too. But I think we're trending downward, especially if we make a trade in the next episode. Maybe this first season is a trade every episode. Who knows? Screwing up morale, isn't really what I want to do. But if we can honestly work with this, this tank, I'll be cool with it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. I won't look into too much of the analytics here. I'll just scroll by so you can check them out. We're not really worried about them. We'll worry about them when we're going on win streaks. See, if we got to change the PK and stuff like that. PK is actually doing pretty good. But yeah, that's what that looks like. Now let's just look at the team stats. I want to just make sure Tyson Berry's got the most points on the team. That's good for growth. I just want to make sure all our guys who need to get points are getting points. Soderberg's getting a lot of points, damn it. Maybe we should trade him. He's stealing points. Wilson's a lot of points. McKinnon not getting that many points, so that's no good. Maybe we do trade away someone like a Soderberg for either a pick or, yeah, maybe a pick, and then we could sign someone to a roster spot for a wing for McKinnon. That might be pretty cool. And, yeah, Grigorenko. Yeah. I think it's here. Yakupov not really doing too much for us. But Landy is, so that's good. Landeskog and McKinnon hopefully will trend upwards, but it's really good to see Barry here. He'll definitely have, if he's more than a point a game, that's really good for a defenseman. If he can get up to 90, I would be very, very happy. 19 assists, damn. Yeah, he's well worth that, making those kind of numbers. So don't worry, Barry. We will get you into the playoffs in the next couple of years here. And I think, let's see actually what Teuton is at, because if he's on the same line as Teuton, yeah, Teuton's not doing much of anything. I think he's just kind of facilitating it, he's plus 12 or plus 8 right there. So that's good. Yeah, he is helping out the defensive side. So maybe that is a combo that works, especially for the offensive side. So Barry should definitely grow. That's good to see, actually. So, all right, well, there we go. Like I said earlier, if you want your comment to show up in the next video, go ahead down in the comments and let me know what we should do, who we should trade for. I'm thinking next episode maybe doing a Soderberg trade or, a Wilson trade or something like that. Just getting one of those guys out of there. We can keep another one, but bringing up some of the younger guys in the center. Maybe trading for like a better center or something like that. We could pop in there. Maybe throwing in some prospects to clean up the roster a little bit. Some like no-name guys so we're not maxed out on roster slots. And just real quick, I'll see if anybody potential-wise is left on the free agents because, we kind of did miss out on all those guys because of the roster. So Neil's still up there. You guys were saying sign Neil. Yager's still up there. Yager would definitely be a nice one to have on the wing, the right wing, instead of Yakupov. Yakupov can move down the second line. That might actually be a good idea. And then get McKinnon, a really nice shooter there for the next 1 year. That's it. And, $4.8 million for 1 year is definitely not anything we need to worry about, especially if we get rid of a little more salary. And are there any goalies? Are there any goalies currently left here? Man, it's taking forever to load. Okay, Picard, we can pick up our old backup. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, at this point, not really anybody we could, pick up other than Picard. And I don't really know if I want to do that or just let him sit there and get picked up by somebody else. The whole Las Vegas thing is kind of what threw it off. But I think that might be a good idea in the next episode. Trade away Soderberg and bring over with a couple other people, I don't know, just to free up roster spots, slide somebody in at center. I know Yakupov can kind of play center and then bring in the big guns, bring in the, where is he? Bring in Yager. That would be pretty cool. And we could work with that for sure. And especially for the next year. 44 years old, that's sick as hell. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if I missed anything else you guys want to see in the next episode. But really, the biggest thing is let me know any trades that should happen or any kind of roster update, any lines, anything like that. You guys are so good with it. And yeah, cool. Well, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you dug it. And we'll see you next time out on the ice.